All right, I'm going to show everybody how we go about making the kids pop-up straight tumblers, and we actually make them in our Tumbler Press. This is a smaller tumbler, so it doesn't really fit in the press, but what we've gone and done was we actually use this silicone mat that you can find at Costco, Target, Walmart, any of those places. It's a cooking mat. Basically, there's different sizes. This is the one that's about 9 inches, 10 inches in length. You don't have to cut it or nothing. This is the perfect size for the tumbler to fit in. And once you put it in a press, it works out perfectly. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with the tumbler itself. First thing you're gonna notice is that the pop is right here. Make sure it's nice and tight. And you have the option of either putting the image on the front. Some people like putting the main image on the back, so when you tilt it and drink, that's what you see. I like it on the front personally, but that's just a preference. What you're gonna do is you're gonna find the center or the middle right there, and you're gonna put a dot on the bottom. We do that, so now we know where our image is gonna go when we actually take the top off. That way everything lines up perfectly. So we're gonna go ahead and take the top off. We're gonna move our mat to the side. We don't need that right now. We're actually gonna put the image on. And on this one in particular, we're gonna go with Paw Patrol. And here's my image here. It's already cut out. And first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna tape one side. And make sure you choose what side you're gonna tape. This one, it really doesn't matter, but excuse my reach. I'm gonna take this. And what I do is I just tape it right across. Don't stretch the tape out. Just make sure it's nice and loose. And just with your finger, just go along the edge. You want to be as close to the edge without going over the edge, okay? So I just tape it down, and then I take my little X-Acto knife here, and I just trim the edge off here and edge off here, and this can peel off. You can just throw this away. Okay, so now I have a nice bleed edge. This prevents when you wrap the image around, it prevents the double bleed from this ink right here going through to the other side. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and find our dot. We have it right here. And I'm just gonna make sure the dot is facing that way. And we're gonna take the image. Now I know that's gonna be my front. So we're gonna take the whole image this way, wrap it around. And what I'm gonna do is, I like to lift this up just a little bit to go around the wrap, the bend here, the roundness. So we're gonna lift this just a little bit, just so I can see that edge nicely. We're gonna tape it down right in the middle. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my, it's over here, I'm gonna grab it. Sorry, I should have had it right there in front of me, but I didn't. So I got my tumbler cradle. I'm gonna put the tumbler right in there. I'm gonna take 2 more pieces of tape, and I'm gonna tape just a little bit. You don't need too much. And you're actually gonna pull, so you're gonna pull tight. It's nice and tight that way. And the same at the top. You're gonna pull nice and tight. Okay. Next thing I do is take my tape, and I tape it right down the seam. I did a little bit too much tape, so I'm gonna cut some of it off. I'm gonna tape it right down the seam. Make sure when you do this, the part that's on top, you wanna fasten that side down first, just like I'm doing here. So you're gonna fasten the top that's right here, and then push this way. Nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to take the tape here, and we're going to wrap around the whole bottom, leaving a little bit of an edge over it, so hang over the tape, and you're going to pull nice and tight. Just go right around the whole thing just like that, and then you're just going to wrap it so all the tape wraps around. For the top, we're gonna pull. You don't have to wrap around. You don't have to have any hang over. You're just gonna go directly over the top, as close to the top as you can, and just nice and tight. Okay, this completes the wrapping process of the tumbler. Now we're going to take our mat that we have here, right where the seam is, okay? You're going to take it and start with the seam, and you're just going to roll it, okay? Make sure it's nice and tight, which I did not make sure it's nice and tight, so let me make sure. Okay, then we're going to take 2 pieces of tape. Just tape the silicone wrap 1 and 2. So now I am ready to put this in the tumbler press. So let's go over there and do that now. I'm going to here. And what I like to do is, this is the seam. You find the seam. So the seam's actually going to be on your original when you first started. My seam is going to go down. So we're going to go ahead and put the seam down in the press. Make sure this is all the way tight as far as you can go. So you just make sure this part right here is nice and tight all the way so you can't go any further. And you're going to wait about 60 seconds. This is the waiting period here. So we're going to do 60, then we're going to do 40, and then we're going to do 20. So we're going to rotate it twice. We're going to rotate it twice. 60 seconds for the first one. Then we're going to rotate it. And we're going to do 40 seconds. And we're going to rotate it about 1/4 of the way so that the seam is now facing towards me, okay? And then we're going to close it again. And we're going to do this for 40 seconds. And bear with me a second. I'm actually going to put this here. I'm going to put my glove on because it's going to get hot when I take this out. Okay, right now we're coming on 30 seconds. And now we're going to turn it so that that original seam is facing the back. So it's all the way in the back this way. So it's going to face totally back. Do that for 20 seconds. The reason why we're doing it a little bit longer on these is because it's not as tight, but the wrap is actually allowing it to be a little tight. So we're done with this. Okay, take this right out. And let me go back to our little spot over here. Excuse my walking around here. All right, so now we have our tumbler. It's all wrapped. We're going to take off the silicone here. And just remember, the silicone is hot. So be careful. And what I do is I just put it down, unwrap it, and then I'm going to take off the bottom silicone. Bottom tape, just like that. And we're going to take the top one off, just like this. And then what I do is I take the whole, that tape that I put along the front, we're going to pull this, but at the same time, I'm going to grab the bottom tape the bleed tape, I'm going to grab that at the same time and just pull them both. And this is what we got. And this was where the seam was, and you can't really see the seam on this one. this is the finished product. And what is very nice about this, when I do turn it to the front, because that's the front there, when I do put this on, and I tighten it all the way, that's where the front is.